the U-2 pilot who forgot how to fly mid-flight. Imagine being 70,000 feet in the air, right at the edge of space, and suddenly, you forget how to fly the plane. That's exactly what happened to Kevin Henry, an experienced U-2 spy plane pilot, and it nearly cost him his life. The U-2 spy plane is no ordinary aircraft. It's designed to fly at extreme altitudes, so high that pilots have to wear what's basically a spacesuit. But here's the catch. At those altitudes, the air is so thin, your blood could literally boil without protection. That's why U-2 pilots breathe pure oxygen and wear fully pressurized suits, just like astronauts. Kevin's mission that day in 2006 started like any other, but just 2 hours in, things went horribly wrong. He began feeling tired, his vision got blurry, and then hallucinations. This wasn't just any fatigue, it was decompression sickness, also known as the bends. It happens when nitrogen bubbles form in your blood due to changes in air pressure, just like when you pop open a soda and bubbles form. But for Kevin, these bubbles were forming in his brain, and that's when things got dangerous. At 70,000 feet, there's almost no oxygen, so Kevin was relying on his suit to keep him alive. But then, he made a critical mistake. He opened his visor. Now you're probably thinking, why on earth would he do that? Well, Kevin had just vomited inside his helmet and couldn't see. So, in a panic, he lifted the visor to clear the mess, but that meant he was now breathing air with almost no oxygen. Kevin's body was shutting down. His vision turned black and white, his thoughts were scrambled, and worst of all, he forgot how to use the controls of the plane. He couldn't even punch in the data to engage autopilot. With his brain fogged by the lack of oxygen, Kevin did the one thing no pilot should ever do. He flew blind. Back at base, the crew knew something was wrong. Kevin was slurring his words, drifting in and out of consciousness. They had to guide him step by step, trying to get him to land in a friendly Middle Eastern country, the name of which is still classified. Despite all the odds, Kevin managed to fly for another 6 hours before landing the plane perfectly. Yes, perfectly, on the center line, wings level, something even healthy U-2 pilots struggle with. But how did he pull this off? It's honestly a miracle. The U-2 is a notoriously difficult plane to land. It's got 2 wheels, like a bicycle, and with a wingspan over 100 feet, even a small mistake could tip the plane over. Kevin, half conscious, oxygen deprived, and suffering from severe brain damage, somehow stuck the landing. After landing, doctors found that Kevin had suffered a full frontal lobe attack. Nitrogen bubbles had invaded his brain, causing permanent damage, and while he recovered enough to fly again after 6 months, he was eventually grounded for good. Until 2002, severe decompression sickness in U-2 pilots was practically unheard of, but between 2002 and 2009, there were 16 cases. 9 of those pilots, including Kevin, suffered long-lasting or permanent brain damage. Why? Because U-2 missions had changed. Pilots were flying more often, for longer periods, and performing more tasks in the cockpit. Even something as simple as reaching up to flip a switch could increase the risk of decompression sickness at those altitudes.